during the conference here, you mentioned an interesting project about an international school being within a Norwegian school. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, we're going with the International Baccalaureate because that is a well-known program where you can go to different schools all over the world. And we want to put the International Baccalaureate within the public school. And that is to be more inclusive and have both the children living in Rana by now and the newcomers all together. And though there are different programs and they will be staying in different classes, they will be able, we hope, to take like music or gymnastics together so that we can include them and we can learn from one another. Yeah.
And this program is set in place to happen?
No, we have out a position right now for a coordinator to come and make this happen because we have to apply from the Minister of Education in Norway to have like a pilot, or that's not quite right because Manglerud skole in Oslo has done this before, but it's the only school that has done it before. And they have worked with, they have license for 1 year. So we would like this to be a permanent possibility to have this international education within the public school. Yep.
Can you tell a little bit about your recruitment process and how you're hiring internationals and in terms of diversity and inclusion aspects?
We are recruiting by competence and it's in the industry of chemistry mostly, and skilled workers as mechanics and hard workers. It's not enough Norwegians to have all these positions. So we have only one place to recruit. We are looking all over the place. And the best thing to do is to have the applications in English.
How are you creating that cultural workplace environment to welcome internationals in your company?
I think the best part is to have them work with the Norwegians together and not separate them to speak. That's the English-speaking part and that is the Norwegian-speaking part. So we have to do things together, both socially and professionally. And I think that is the most successful way to do it, because then we get integration in a good way.
So I want to move on to the community program that you'll be running. Is it primarily for just migrants, or is it also inclusive of the local population?
It's both. So the foundation of it is really to understand that this, when we talk about integration or inclusion, and within this vexed mobility setting project, that as we have mentioned, we are expecting an important growth of population in the next coming years. And in order to be able to receive those new inhabitants, we need to obviously, on the one hand, to understand and focus on the newcomers, even before they decide to move and to relocate to Mo i Rana, and from the other hand, with the community that lives in Mo i Rana, and that means people from Mo i Rana, but also Norwegians that have moved from other parts from the country to Mo i Rana, other immigrants that already live, that are old newcomers, if I can say so. So it is really about the community. And we want everyone to have a place in that community and to be able to thrive in this community. So the goal is really to create an inclusive and sustainable integration policy and strategy.
How are you going to get the local community involved and interested in the project?
That's a good question. So I have to say, first of all, that they are already there is a lot of initiatives already within the local community. We have activities, for instance, of hiking, discovering the nature around Mo i Rana, quiz, the student committee creating events to include their own new students. We have concrete activity within the civil society group, but also from other actors that are really promoting and inviting the newcomers. So there were already this general DNA in Mo i Rana to be very warm and welcome the people that are arriving into the community. So it's actually quite easy.
Yeah, and I think it's since we're in this fantastic library right now, I want to say we want to use the library, open it up and make an information hub there where people can come and get all kind of information. And we've even got money from the National Library because they think it's important to use the libraries at a meeting point. And we have a lot of cultural happenings going on, and often we have people gathered for to take a topic, different topic, society topics, to make discussions within the library. And I think that will be a good arena in the time to come to make migration.
I'm very, very curious about how the plans will work for the migrants coming to Mo i Rana. It's important to think about, as I said earlier, not only think about the men that are coming to work, but also to think about their spouses, because some of them might not have education, some of them maybe they can't even read and write, and what to do for them, because if you only engage the one partner and you leave the other partner, it also creates problem at home for the families. So it's important that all the plans are made in a way that everyone is included. We always talk about integration, we always talk about inclusion, but it's also important to look and see who needs to be integrated and who needs to be included. So these are important aspects that I think Mo i Rana will also work on, because I had a good meeting with Jasna from the project, and I can see that they have a lot of things put together.
Is there a program or consideration for the spouses of migrant workers coming into Norway?
Absolutely. I could not respond for Norway, but for Mo i Rana. So yes, we have mapped different possibilities. So we may have the perfect scenario where the spouse find a job that it's needs in the business community. We may have some entrepreneur, and we have fantastic options for entrepreneur in Mo i Rana with co-working space. We may also have people that would like to work remotely. So we're working on also these options, and then we also have a university that will develop further competencies and further bachelor, depending on how the needs of the labor market will develop. And we are also in dialogue and working very, very closely with NAV, and they are actually right now recruiting someone that will also work with understanding that the labor market will definitely be affected, and we need to take this as an opportunity to develop further competencies.
Yeah, and I think right now it's hard to get people in different positions. So there might be a mutual interest to really make things work.
Yeah.
So we need to thrive a little bit harder to make things good for the people coming.
Coming to Norway can be good and can be difficult, but we also have to look at the possibilities. As I said, it's important to look at the resources that you have, how to convey them within the society and use it, but also how you can involve yourself in certain ways that will also help you to gain something and also to give something. So it's a win-win situation, but it have to be both sides, not only one-way traffic, but it have to be on both sides. And we all need to work together to make it go.
Beautiful. So how does, in the context of your work and also today, how does the future of Norway look like, given that, you know, we still have racism still here existing in Norway, and the work you do is trying to sort of eliminate that in some ways and forms? Does the future look bright?
That's a tough one. I think we have to look at the future generation. They look at things in another direction, completely different from the way I looked at things years back. The future generation today, they know what they want and they know what to do. And I think they are also our future leaders. But it's important not to look at them as only future leaders. It's now that we have to look at them so that it's easier for them to be our future leaders. We cannot wait, talk about the youths now and then say they're our future leaders. So we just have to forget them today and start in 20 years because then they are not youths anymore. It's the right time now that we use these youths and use their resources. But it's very, very important to think about, okay, racism and discrimination is everywhere. But how do we fight it? It's not with anger, it's not with fighting, it's not with wars, but it's also educating people. It's important to have common understanding, it's important to have information that helps both migrants but also the society to understand that some of us, some migrants are here and they are also paying their taxes. They are part of people who are developing the country, so they should be looked at as resources, but not as burden or problems. And this is the way we can do things. There are many ways of fighting racism. People who are racist will always be racist. Some people you cannot change them, but some people need that education and the information that can help them so that they can change their mindset. And it's only the mindset. When it's changed, it's easier to be together and be as one.
Have you experienced any challenges in recruiting internationals coming to Norway, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Yes, we have a lot of challenges by the government. Bank accounts, personal numbers. To have a degree as a skilled workers have to be what you call it? You have to be approved in Norway.
Nakud.
Yes, that's sometimes a problem, and then language could be a problem, because a lot of foreigners want very much to work, and they say they understand, but we recognize that it not always does that. But we want everybody to be honest, because we have to know if they don't understand what we are talking about. We have to know. So that is a tricky point, because a lot of people is insecure in their language and say they understand more than they do. How to do that? It's coursing in English and in other languages, and let them know that it's not dangerous to say that you need help.
And will there be processes put in place where you can, record things and monitor things so you can see the success or things that need to change in order for the long term? They've been talking about 1 or 2 years, but what about 5-year plans and 10-year plans?
Yes, we are currently working on a sustainability and social impact study. So we are putting in place different indicators to be able to monitor and measure what will be the short, mid and long-term impact of such vexed mobilizing in Mo i Rana. So this is definitely part of our strategy.
We would like to invite people to Mo i Rana, and please come and look out. It might be a good job solution for you there.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.